have to meet me at the Rendezvous.
As you guys know, on the Rendezvous, we talk to community thought leaders, quirky personalities, and driven Canadians who bring themselves into the arena. One such man, myth, legend, who I had the privilege of working with in the past, is Ken, the Hurricane Himes. He might be Victoria's best kept secret in Canada. You're like the supervillain right now. He's not quite your average supervillain, and here on the Rendezvous we're about to let the cat out of the bag.
Hello sports fans, welcome to VI Sports.
He's a trailblazing event promoter, a master of ceremonies. Having served his country, Ken Himes is a broadcast talent and a public relations champion. He's been an ambassador for Canadian content both locally and worldwide.
Are you folks ready? I'll take you on, I'll take you on one-on-one, I'll take you all at one time, bring it on.
He even muscled his way between Kid Rock and Pamela Anderson, a guest of honor at a celebrity soiree thrown by Victoria music legend David Foster. Oh, by the way, did you guys know that I sang with David Foster? On a cloudy day. Yeah! But enough about me, let's get back to Ken.
Bring it on. Are you ready?
This is my interview with Ken Hurricane Himes. I'm your host, James Green, and you're watching The Rendezvous.
Thank you very much, James Green, for having me on The Rendezvous today. It's going to be a good one.
Yes, so let's start from the beginning, shall we?
Sure.
A little bit about you, sir, because in Victoria, you are somewhat of a local celebrity.
Yes, a very small local celebrity, yes.
But you've made your mark, you've made your imprint through the years. Talk to us a little bit about, firstly, before you got to Victoria, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Nova Scotia, but originally I was from Fort William, and then we went to Nova Scotia, Halifax, Dartmouth, somewhere where the Trailer Park Boys lived and worked over there. And from there I lived in the prairies, places such as Wainwright, Edmonton, Winnipeg for 5 years. I had my beautiful daughter, my baby girl, Nicole. And then I traveled out to Victoria because the military took me out there. And you take one look at this place and you don't want to go
First,
back.
we gotta go through basic training, and we gotta get in shape. Do you hear me? Sir, yes, sir. That's right. Start running now. Get going, boys and girls. Get going. Lift your knees up. Come on, people.
Okay, put the brakes on there because you said you were in the military. So, you grew up, you went to high school. What was life like as a kid before you went into the military?
Well, I left school in grade 10. I think I got beat up by the captain of the football team. And my whole life was just kind of hectic at the time. I just wanted to reach out and do something. I think there was a little bit of psychedelic research going on at the time. And so basically I kept watching Letterman and Saturday Night Live. And when Saturday Night Live first started, I said, I want to be a part of this, man. I want to make people laugh and just get on that train. So
were you a class clown?
Yeah, we were, but we get caught by Mr. Marchant, and he'd take us in this room and he'd roll this big projector back and forth. I'll come down on you like a ton of bricks, because he was the English teacher, so there's alliteration all the time. He didn't beat on you with like normal words. It would be something with likes and as and similes and metaphors, and so he yelled at us through metaphors, yeah.
Yeah, we had a teacher, and whenever we were acting up, maybe flicking rubber erasers at each other, my one buddy had a pea shooter in class.
Oh boy.
All he would do, because at the time it was illegal for him to strike kids, but he would just open the door and show us the cane.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
But that was the transition from the cane to no cane in schools.
Yeah. Wow. We didn't have caning. We had straps, and you could hear the kid getting beaten in the principal's office on the hand. Like you could hear it right through the school, like in grade 7 and stuff. So. But,
and then today, it's the other way around. The kids rule the school, right?
Yeah, with cell phones and stuff, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so hold on a sec. So you grew up as an East Coast lad. I should turn my phone off.
Yes.
Getting into all sorts of trouble at school. What was your home life like, in your family dynamics? Can you share some of that?
Sure, my family's came from a fairly hefty long list of alcoholics, so beer drinking back then, like my parents could, right until the day they died, they'd drink 60, 80, 100 of these things, 150 every week kind of thing. Like it was ongoing. So there was a lot of chaos, and they'd go to the pubs, you know, and they'd leave us there until 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. And occasionally they'd come home with a Maple Leaf jersey or a Montreal Canadian. I grabbed the Maple Leaf jersey and get my sister the Montreal Canadian. I don't know what I was thinking at the time, but so that just stuck with me. But basically they weren't around a lot, so it was kind of a sad thing, and lots of really bad babysitters and stuff. You know, like a lot of other people have come to know in their lives, you know, just chaos, right? So, but my dad was a Korean War veteran, and he'd seen a lot, so he was suffering from PTSD. They would just go to the Legion and drink it away. Now there's better plans in place, and so it was pretty chaotic. You know, I'm glad we escaped unharmed somewhat from all this shenanigans that were going on in the background.
In terms of siblings?
Yeah, I got a sister.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where's she now these days?
Somewhere in southern Ontario.
Yeah.
My mother was able to work people against each other and stuff. She was very mean-spirited.
So you have a bit of a divided family?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. But there's still lots of good people around. Most of them aged out now, so, you know, I want to get closer to my daughter, who's got 5 children, so I like to start showing them the real world and a good world. So, you know, I've learned from my past that I don't want to be that person, so, you know, kids are first.
Tell us the story of how you ended up in Victoria, because, you know, a lot of people know you here, but they might not know how you ended up here.
Well, I want to be a combat medic, so I was sitting in Winnipeg studying medicine and stuff, working in a grain elevator on Chevrolet Boulevard. I think they made a big kids' prison or something there now, where the old warehouse used to be. But I just decided that I needed to do something exciting and interesting, so I wanted to be a combat medic. And they said, no, Kenny, come to the recruiting center, we got something in the infantry. I said, well, my dad would be proud of me. So he was in the Royal Canadian Regiment, and I had the choice of the PPCLI. I said, they gave you a choice between, you know, Edmonton, or they call this the Sunshine Hollywood Battalion. This is the most beautiful place in Canada. So it was an easy choice to come to Victoria. And in January of 1980, 81, and I'm rolling around, in my t-shirt running down the street in wintertime in January, February, and like running along the pathway to the legislature and back to Work Point Barracks, a very ancient museum type place at the time, and still is a little bit. So that's my decision to come here and just hang out. And I found it was a little bit cliquey at first. So, but once in a while I started having this, I was drinking a Lucky beer and sitting outside somewhere, and I said, I got to change my life. I left the military. I'm working in a hospital laundry right now, and it smells bad. It is bad. And just this, drinking this beer here and sitting with friends going, wait, let's have a tough man show. No necks, rednecks against each other, you know. And suddenly in 1990, I put this occupational wars on. And these people came out, and to this day, I mean, it's helped produce some of the best champions in the world. We got several champions on this island. It's become quite a melting pot for great pugilists and stuff. So the occupational wars. So you think you're tough? I did that, and then I started doing.
Well, is that kind of like tough man contest? Because they were popular in the 90s, like the gladiators, like basically pitting people against each other to show strength. Maybe like how dexterous and also agile they are.
Well, some were just big and fat and sloppy and drunk, and there are all kinds of types and stuff. And you know, I'm proud of these guys for stepping in the ring. You know, it was supposed to be a novice show, so you couldn't have a lot of background. Shane Sutcliffe knocked out 2-3 guys that night. Jason Haidt went into the amateur world. Shane went into heavyweight championship boxing, you know, with the big boys. So there was a whole lot of people that got produced from the Occupational Wars Tough Man show.
Okay, so you served in the military, but then you wanted to get into the showbiz scene, and it was fighting that you were drawn to, like that whole.
Yeah.
I don't know if was it wrestling that got you into it, like the WWF.
Well, I watched that growing up, so it was quite entertaining. And then they finally decided to call it entertainment to save money in taxes in New Jersey and place. And I really liked it, but you know, the putting on the 16-ounce gloves and going and fighting in front of 3,000 people at the old Memorial Arena, there's nothing like it on the planet. And to see people, you know, your neighbors up there, you know, going at it was quite a thing. And I made a bunch of money, bought a Corvette, an old Corvette, and I really felt good about myself. And from there, the rock concerts came, discovered Amanda Marshall, Bare Naked Ladies, brought them here in '91.
So you became then sort of, you transitioned into what was really a party promoter, an events coordinator, and and also you're the man of the ring, so you were kind of a ringmaster, and I've seen you in action at some fights, so you were the sort of the voice. Yes. As well. You got this broadcast demeanor. So how did that all come together from having that military background?
Well, the military gives you leadership and teaches you how to talk and to scream at people and scream and do parade and drill and all this stuff. So it's a really good teacher in many, many ways of attention to detail and stuff and respecting people and stuff. And so that helped a little bit. But that's my God-given gift, is my voice, to be able to change it up, do impressions and stuff. I mean, I've done lots of work in the media, and I even get calls to do these life shows where a person passes away and you want to give meaning back to their life. And so a lot of people don't want to do these. So I don't know why I get these gigs from time to time, but they're very meaningful to me to get people to come up and talk. Some people rather die than talk in a microphone. Well,
that's one of the things I admire about your work too, because we worked together at Shaw TV for a couple of years. And you were the sports guy that's not shy.
That's right. Hurricane Heim's a sports guy that's not shy.
And and in a world where you kind of have to compete for attention, especially now. So how important is it going into a broadcast career or being a showman and entertainer to not be shy, or even if you are shy, to shed the shyness?
Yeah, I got a pretty good mouth on me, and I can roll with the punches. And basically, when your job is to talk and you want to say it right and you want to pronounce properly, and especially names in sports, if you get a kid's name wrong and you're doing football, the mom will come and tell you, or the dad. It's
like the end of the world for some people, eh? Yeah. Like if you get it wrong.
So I try and be as perfect as possible, and I do that through my sports entertainment. I get the people in the crowd. Like I'll invent promotions like, I want to see the sexy senior dance. So you get a 70-year-old woman up dancing, we give her a prize, right? Or we just making up stuff as I go for the local football team when I was with them. And then I went to pro baseball with our first pro baseball team, the Salmon Kings, our first pro hockey team. So I got a chance to do play-by-play for them, and first broadcast internet, as far as I'm concerned. Probably set a record there just doing that for the first pro hockey team in Victoria.
And is it a case of like, one gig leads to another? They say, oh, we like what you did with this game, like we like what you did on this channel, like we want you to do the same for us. Is that how it works in this industry?
Yeah, absolutely. People like your voice, and
but then you, like, as offshoots, you get involved in other sports too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And controversy too, because we had the Card Girls, and they came out the first year in 1990 with thongs on, and Victoria hadn't released Team Thong bathing suits yet, and suddenly there was this, all through the media, some people complaining about, Kennedy did a good story back saying, these are Card Girls, or the Ring Girls, or the cheerleaders of boxing. So, one of them started A&E, had a show on intervention, and she passed away a few years ago, and she had her own television show. So it's amazing how some people created these great empires on their own, shows, and made money after these events. So
the winner of our Miss Ringsider competition tonight, as always, will receive $1,000.
Who are we?
So how exactly did Ken get his nickname, the Hurricane? Well, the answer, my friends, is blowing in the wind.
Ow!
The Hurricane came from the boxing, when I was kickboxing for the World Championship and the BC Championship at Royal Athletic Park and Memorial Arena again. So I needed a name, right? I didn't want to be called Flatfoot or Punchy or anything like that. I wanted to...
Did you start fighting in the military?
Well, people fought there just because they were pretty rowdy and everyone had a lot of testosterone and they were young. Yeah. So there was a lot of fighting. Everybody that wasn't Army was kind of like our enemies, and you go to pubs and fights would break out and stuff. And I think they were just testing the fact that they weren't in the war. They're like the Marines in the U.S. They get all this training and then they got nowhere to put this stuff. So, but they stick together as a team. So there was some scuffles. Just like having a football team go out on the weekend and have beer or whatever they do. And there's always that possibility, but you get that in lots of different trades, right?
How confident, how well did you fare in the ring as a fighter?
Well, I got hit by Steve Cooper for the BC Championship, and he rung my bell, and I had to hop out of the ring. It was October 2nd. I have a poster here. That's my birthday. I hop out of the ring after doing the fight. I'm all punchy. I never had my bell rung like that before, except once in the military. But I sat down and I had a television show to do for Shaw Television at the time. So I was calling the game, calling the athletes. Well, I'm all, fuzzy. So I had a job to do, and I got through that and just went home, and it was a good show.
What is it about announcing, you're coming up with those off-the-cuff comments, feeding off people's energy too when you're interacting with them?
Yeah.
What is it about all that drives your passion for broadcasting?
Well, first of all, you got to come and make sure you commit, and you got to make sure you do all your establish yourself that you can speak, right? So I've read a lot. And reading is probably the most important thing that a kid can learn growing up. And when I used to teach the troops back in school, I said the smartest woman in the world right now, the highest IQ. That she was asked what would she do one day, every day. What does she do that makes her the smartest woman in the world? She goes, I have to read the paper, she said. So she reads the paper, she stays up on things. So you need to stay up on things. I think reading is still, and writing is even better for your brain because you even use even more brain cells to produce. So I got a good writing and a good imagination and a good reading background. So that helps incredibly. You can talk about lots of different topics. Even if it's not boxing or kickboxing or rock and roll, you can always bring stuff up. And I've been at political places with really high-ranking political people, and I'd be talking away, and they'd say, where do you work? And I'd go, I work at the hospital. And they'd say, oh, you're a doctor? What are you, a surgeon? I go, no, I work in the laundry department. The whole room would go quiet. And these are the ferries minister, and this is back in the day of Harcourt and all these people and stuff. But I was always pranking those guys too, because my girlfriend was going out with, she was right in with all those guys. So I come up to Mike Harcourt and I do that little handshake like this. And it's kind of like, I want to make out with you kind of thing. It's kind of a funny handshake, and he knew exactly what it was. He pulls away and he goes, look, Ken, look, there's a good band coming on now. And I was always pranking these guys. And it was a lot of fun to be pranking the big boys and the ladies out there that they never get pranked. So
I think comedy can win you a lot of friends, especially in business as well.
The Hurricane wears his wardrobe department loud and proud when the lights and cameras are on. And as you can see, Kenny is always dressed for success. He's got one of the biggest walk-in tickle trunks on the Western Front.
Depending where you're going, if you're going to something from the 1800s or you're into Prince or something, then you got your alligator snakeskin suits here. You got stuff to make you smile. Little teal. Paul Archer says teal looks good to me. There's all the old school Shaw Television stuff right here. You got all the stuff that made me infamous for being silly looking in suits. So that's the old stuff. You got all the cowboy boots are from the guys from the WWE here. He gave me all his boots.
Should everyone have a tickle trunk, Ken?
I think a lot of people do. I think a lot of women already have it. I think a lot of guys always have those little fun things that they keep in the background and in their lives, and whatever material works, right? We're just putting a smile on people's faces. And if I look silly, so be it. How did Kenny Himes get his start? Well, in 1990, I needed something to do. So for $13.95, I'd go around to all the old folks' homes in town that could afford me for 1 hour, and I would sing and do voice impressions. And who was that famous guy that was on The Tonight Show for many years? The Italian-Scottish guy? Jay Leno? That's how he started his career.
You've got this thing you work on called Ken's Comedy Corner. So explain that to the viewers about how you sort of intertwine comedy into a lot of things you do, because I mean, come on, laughter's the best medicine, right? You've heard that one before.
Absolutely, it is medicine. Absolutely, that's why my wisecrack buddy Dave Hepburn, that's what he believed, and he'd actually met Patch Adams, the guy with the walk around the nose in the children's hospitals and stuff. And I was doing that in Peru, so he gave me the nose thing, and I'd have the bracelets, and he had the chocolates for the boys. We go to these places where you see these crazy diseases you'd never see in Canada. So the comedy is a huge part of my life, and I particularly prefer to be around people that are happy-go-lucky and can make me laugh. And there's a few out there that could have easily made it, but they worked at, say, the post office, or they worked here. There's a lot of talent in this country, and I can see Gene Simmons of KISS when he came up here to do his snowboarding feature there with his family jewels, whatever he called it. He said, Canadian jewels, this country is so full of talent, but the people, they're not like America. They're not go-getters as much as they are down there. So he just says untapped talent in Canada.
It's so funny because Canadians do well in Hollywood, and everybody's group of friends, there's always that one person you're like, that person should be in a movie, or they should, I've got like in different groups of friends, I've got people that are hilarious, right?
Yeah.
I mean, even my father's got, I don't know how he memorizes all the jokes.
Oh, he's delicious.
I don't memorize jokes, I kind of just go with the flow, but.
Oh, he's great. We were doing Monty Python one night at your place.
Yeah.
Having that huge party there, and you have great parties on the ocean, and your dad was like, he was going back to back. We're doing jokes. I'm making stuff up on the spot. He's just telling me stuff. And, those old military guys, there's the cat there. So that Tango Wango Tango, named after Ted Nugent.
Oh, yeah.
Killed 80 rats one year we were counting. Something to do with the gardens next door or something, I don't know. But yeah, your dad's great. Those guys, my dad was really funny when he drank. He was very deadly serious when he wasn't drinking. But as soon as he started, he'd do Happy Feet, and he'd do Steve Martin jokes and stuff. And he'd put his socks on. So they were barely hanging on, but they were about 12 feet out this way, or 12 inches out this way. And he'd flop around in his socks saying, I got happy feet, I got happy feet.
In terms of Victoria now, are we losing our sense of humor in this city? Is because I know that at one point this place was very vibrant, lots going on, lots to report on. Where are we at with the culture in Victoria?
I haven't been going out much. I've been isolated since my dog passed away. We used to go out all the time. I was doing a little movie stuff here and there, doing security for big movie stars and rock stars, but I kind of settled down, and I've sat back and I started watching the news. There's a lot of stuff, that's bad stuff out there, child molesters, people just completely whacked out on drugs that are dying, that are just normally good people. There's just so much bad stuff happening out there. So there's never been a better time to have more comedy clubs, more music venues and stuff. And people love to be entertained. They like to get away from it for a while. And I talked to my friend Victoria, who runs the Victoria Film Commission, and she says, Ken, you don't want to watch that news all the time, because it's gonna flatten you out.
Did you tell Victoria that the Victoria Film Commission's named after her?
We've had this conversation, and it's kind of, well, her name is VC, like her VC is a Victoria Cross. She had no idea, so I said, that's the biggest medal in Canadian military, is like to get this medal, right? Anyways. She believes in me the way a lot of other people do, give me an opportunity, like Rendezvous, the Rendezvous show today with you has given me. So they've seen me work, and it's only a matter of time. I just need to get out there and start doing gigs again, which is starting to happen.
My favorite segment that you did on Shaw TV was when you showed up with the, they were like trampoline acrobats or something.
Oh yeah, the gymnastics.
And they're all jumping around, and there's you in your funky suit trying to keep up.
Yeah.
I have an idea you may have worn a leotard, but...
Yeah, it was leotards or something, and I was up 290 pounds, had a big beer belly at the time, and I was doing gymnastics. So there was all this crazy stuff that happened, good stuff that happened with the community television, which was an inspiration for me to them let me be wild and crazy with all these different sports.
Here's a snippet of Ken in full swing on Shaw TV. Check this out.
You should get out there and try as many new things as you can.
The most electrifying man in sports in Victoria, the sports guy that's not shy, Ken Hurricane Himes.
It's like Superman putting on his cape. Here we go. How's my snake?
I've chosen this uniform to blend in and to be inconspicuous.
I lied. I'm not an elite cheerleader from the United States. I probably let a few of you down.
These are whitewater boats, so they're, in a sense, unstable boats. So
you tell me this now?
We've got a very active sports culture here, because of our climate, I would say likely, and because just the amount of sports that take place here. We've got world-class facilities in Victoria on Vancouver Island, but we're also for the last at least decade, maybe 15 years, we've been Hollywood North as well. So how is the film industry? I know it's going through some changes right now, but how have you been able to harness the geography of where we're at to play into not only sports but into the film industry?
Well, first of all, I got a background in theater, so I've been with the theater guild here in town. I always play either a cop or a bad guy. I'm always a bigger than life person, so I get those roles always. And then from there, I went to the Victoria Operatic Society, sang, and was one of the stars. And I didn't know I could sing opera, but apparently I could. So I'm at the Operatic Society playing the Ghost of Christmas Present. You've never seen the like of me before, have you? And I got 2 kids there, and the whole Christmas Carol thing. So I got going on this stuff, and then I found these guys making little movies here in town. Good movies, good stuff. So I started a couple of those with John and the Hungarian culture he brought to the industry. And John put me in a couple movies, and then from there I started doing security of all things, because I got a good background in security. So I was doing Alice Cooper security, Burton Cummings, Joe Walsh, the Eagles, and then recently Ryan Philippe up Island. So Reese Witherspoon's ex-husband. So we did a movie called 1 Mile, which should come out pretty soon. But of course he was in Cruel Intentions, one of the big ones back many years ago. But so what happened was I've also decided that this is right where I want to be. I'll still play bad guys or cops. And I just want to get more involved in this stuff. And even though they pay really good money, $350 a day to be security, but really it's not where I'm at. So I've seen now the inside of it. And Victoria is hugely popular. It's a great place. The only issue the movie companies have is trying to find a parking spot in downtown Victoria. But Victoria is growing rapidly, and the movies are coming here more and more. And the scenery is beautiful, and there's so much money to be made in. And the industry brings in lots of money and lots of work for the restaurants, the hotels, the transportation, all of it. So it's a huge industry moneymaker. So yeah, keep it coming here. And I'm glad that I graduated UVic as a publicist, so I can be an agent now if I wish. If I don't get jobs, I'm going to become my own agent, I guess.
You've gone back to school recently. Explain what the drive was behind that and what your goal is to achieve.
Well, once again, making people smile. That's my goal in life. As you look around, you see there's a lot of comedy stuff in here. I'm just reading Rick Mercer right now. So the idea was for me to leave the military with these 12 injuries. I got broken feet, the knees, hip replacement, shoulder, all these stuff going, a little PTSD going on, from my Middle East thing and other little dangerous little spots. They kick you out, and then you got to make a choice, and they'll send you for education. So basically, I took university. I went to be a publicist, because then I can work anywhere in the world. I can be an agent if I want, or I can work for Big Oil, which I won't, or Big Tobacco, which I won't. But now I've got this political side. I can write now. And then secondly, they send me to acting school. So I'm going with voiceover school in Vancouver, where they got $100,000 microphones, and I'm in heaven. And so they sent me to acting school, David Simmons here in town. So I did theater, I did acting, I did stand-up comedy, I did all this stuff. And they said, Kenny, nobody leaves the military and becomes like a movie guy or a stand-up comedian or a sports announcer. You got to pick something else. They said, well, I'll go UVic and I'll become a publicist. So I spent 3 years, and now I'm a publicist. So that answers your question.
So it's never too late to go back to school, is what you're saying?
Well, absolutely. Yeah, I was in my 50s, man. I was the oldest guy going through those tunnels until we got to the auditorium at UVic, and I looked, I wasn't a pretty face like everybody else. I was this old guy, right? And I'm just barely getting up and down those wooden stairs inside that ancient place where they had the celebration.
Who are some of your inspirations? We could start with locally. I mean, you've got some broadcasters here. Who's made their mark on you?
Well, there was a guy named Kirk Mason, I believe, with a Q. He had that big, deep rock and roll voice. I like that. And Bro Jake in Vancouver, grew up with him in Winnipeg, and I heard him in Toronto, and he's a New Brunswicker. So that guy, Rock 101, Vancouver, so much classic rock. Bro Jake in the morning, and I just love that powerful stuff. So locally, you know, I mean, Cliff LeCain, guys like that gave me help. Ed Bain would have me on. The media's been pretty good to me, but there are certain people in the media that will actually be jealous or won't put me on there. You're not going to get a TV hurricane. We're not putting you on. You know, I'm at a Shamrocks game covering it or something, because it's still a pretty
Yeah, do you feel like sometimes it's swimming with the sharks, or people are trying to, I don't know, is it like some folks in the media are trying to protect what they have and they don't want anybody to outshine them or something?
Maybe. Well, you would know even better because you've been around the media for many years inside it. I don't know why anybody would want, if there's somebody really spectacular that comes along that's fresh and innovative and stuff and bringing a name to the city and bringing some good material, I don't know why anybody would be jealous. But it is kind of like that. It can be like that for sure.
Yeah, what makes a good broadcaster these days? I mean, what are some of the qualities?
I like Hudson Mack. You know, his son got shot during that, where the guy brought all the weapons up to the hotel in Las Vegas during a country western thing and started firing machine gun at all the country people. So Hudson Mack's son was there and got hit. I'm glad he's alive. But Hudson Mack was just, he had no ego, you know, like he just talked to me. I see him at the wrestling. I'd be announcing entertainment wrestling, and he'd be there, and they called him Smack Hudson. Like smack, you know, not heroin, but smack. And he just played along with it and stuff. So his ego wasn't so huge, you know, and he had a rock and roll background too, like me.
Let's talk about that, because you're a musician as well.
Somewhere a queen is weeping.
We're seeing video right now of you hosting a karaoke night. So I guess you like to pick up the mic and grace the crowd with your vocal prowess.
Yeah, I'm not, you know, the world's greatest lover. I'm not, you know, I'm not a good cook. I sometimes make the bed in the morning, sometimes I don't. But for I guess God willing, I get on there and I just, I do voice impressions. I can do kind of like Johnny Cash. I can do Hank Williams Jr., you know, guys like that, George Strait. Or I can, you know, get really down and kind of do some, a little bit of Alice in Chains, you know, I can change up quite a bit, but usually the deep voices are my best voices to rock out to.
You mentioned you promoted concerts. You know, what is it about rock and roll music that that keeps you interested and makes you want to bring it to the masses?
Well, originally it was girls. We were like 12 years old, and we put our candle radios, speakers outside, and we play Kiss and Aerosmith because they were big at the time. Elton John, Kiss, Aerosmith, all these early 70s bands, you know, Rats in the Cellar, by, you know, it's just on and on. We put them out there, and the girls would come around, and suddenly now we had an audience. We didn't know what to do with these girls when we got them there, but we had a crowd, so we dress up as Kiss as best we could, and we go get ketchup, and we'd spit ketchup on them and try and light things on fire and almost light our faces on fire, and we just loved the music. It just was the coolest thing in the world, this music. And there was no drugs at the time and stuff. It was, you know, just straight up rock and roll.
You have that drive that a lot of entertainers seem to have. It's almost like you're not satisfied unless you're creating the next big event, or you're not part of it in some way, at least.
Yeah, I hope to hang out with more people that are like-minded, like myself. I don't think the Film Commission knows. We don't get to really talk too much about ourselves. So I'm just trying to get my name out there through that.
If people want to come at you for project ideas and team up with you and work with you, like how do they get hold of you?
Basically, you know, Facebook. You know, you can find me on Facebook, or
Ken Himes on Facebook.
Yeah, you know, I've got a couple thousand friends in this town, so people get a hold of me pretty easy. People I don't even know will get a hold of me through Facebook usually.
When it comes to comedy, because I've done a little bit of comedy myself, I've dipped my foot in, and I don't profess to be one of the funniest guys. And sometimes I'll look at it and think, oh, that didn't land right, but it's also to do with the audience, like, because some people will really like what you do, and they'll laugh at different moments too. Mm-hmm. So you know, comedy, I've heard, is subjective. But what does it take to land a good joke, or just maybe bring smiles to the most amount of people?
Yeah, I don't really do jokes. I basically do life experiences, and my life has been crazy, wild, hectic. People don't believe me sometimes when I'm talking, but you see stuff in the military that you'd never see anywhere else, and you see stuff, you know, when I was riding my motorcycle and trying to be cool. You see that type of humor. You see stuff playing sports. You definitely see stuff when you're in the ring and someone's trying to beat you to death, you know, with their hands or whatever. There's so much material out there. And the basic, I just stick to real life stories that people can relate to. Oh, that happened to me once. Oh, you know, I can relate to it, this guy. Where's he going with this, right? So that so I'm not telling jokes per se, I'm just telling life experiences. And
have you tried stand-up?
Many times, yeah. I've been
because I find that so difficult.
Yeah, it's pretty difficult. Once again, I start bringing notes and stuff, and then I start looking at my notes, and I'm getting I might as well just go up there and wing it. So I make a really good host for stand-up comedy, because I'm just picking up jokes, I'm picking up ideas where this comedian came from, and other comedians will let you prank them and make fun of them. Professionals will, anyways. Local people that are starting out, you say something, they get all, you know. One guy wanted to take me outside mic and beat me up, because I was making fun of the other comedians, right? If you dress weird and you show up weird looking and you got strange things happening with your hair and makeup or whatever, then, you know, you're fodder for comedy. So, but here in Canada, they take it a little more, they take it personally. When you go to the States, man, they want you to pick them out of the audience.
You mentioned earlier about writing. I've started writing again because I'm a rapper in the drum and bass scene. So, and I belong to a duo called Heat Score.
Yeah.
So, but I know you're a bit of a rapper too. You've got this, you burst out rapping one day, and I was like, whoa! And that was like old school rapping. Have you got that off the top of your dome right now?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Can we have that?
But there's a secret to it. I don't know if I should tell you the secret.
What is the secret?
Well, you want to hear the rap first, or? So the secret is, I'm basically stealing songs that, like, I'm in Los Angeles and it's, you know, I'm in East Compton or someplace, and the black guys are looking at me, I'm hearing them rap, I'm like, you know, well, Whitey's got to give this a try too, and they'll stop and listen, and I'll be going like, I'm maybe gross and perverted, I'm obsessed and deranged, I've existed for years, very little has changed, I'm the tool of the government and industry too, for I'm destined to rule and to regulate you, I may be vile and pernicious, don't you look away, I make you think I'm delicious with the stuff that I say, have you guessed me yet? I'm the slime oozing out from your TV set, you will obey me while I lead you with the garbage that I feed you, don't run for help, no one will heed you. So basically, I'm stealing Frank Zappa songs, because none of these dudes, I've heard of Frank Zappa, they're into, you know, LJ and all this other stuff, or, you know, like some of the other better rap bands of all time. And so it's easy to like pull something from an obscure Led Zeppelin album. And I'll do this for young people too, that have never listened to maybe, you know, bands like Uriah Heep or old rock, but even you can grab some AC/DC beat songs that people aren't hit singles.
What, and then turn it into a rap,
yeah,
and then blow people's minds at random parties or cocktail events.
Yeah, they think I'm doing improv, like I'm just making this stuff up, but I'm actually just stealing from songs that they never heard. And it's pretty, my friends that are smart, a lot smarter than me, doctors and people like that, they're like, that's just genius, Kenny. And you got that other thing where if they put on a song, anything to do with 70s, I'm a Canadian savant. So you give me one or two beats, and I'll know immediately what that song is. Just one or two beats, one or two notes into that 70s song, I'll tell you right now if it's a top 100.
Ed Bain's got that game show on his radio show where they play the polka.
Yeah, Polka Monster.
Are you any good at that?
No, I'm not good at it.
You can't turn polka into rock music in your brain?
I don't want her, you can have her, she's too fat for me. She's too fat for me. She's too fat for me.
Roll out the barrels.
Yeah.
Did you talk about who some of your favorite comedians are?
Well, I like the Canadian guys, of course. They've taken the world by storm. There's so much talent in this country. Dan Aykroyd, for sure.
Oh, he was the king of monologues.
Oh, he came to town here, and at the Liquor Planet here, and there was 1,000 people waiting to go see him. And I had a couple beers by this point, because you're in a liquor store and the log house is next door. And I said to the blues guys there, they're playing blues, can I sing a song to Danny? And I made it up on the spot. We got Danny in the house. Danny Aykroyd's in the house. He stops Sonny. He stands up to look. He's like, just watching this thing. And I went on for about 30 seconds. You know, what, rhyming couplets, you know, a little poetry there. Yeah. And we just sat back down and like, wow, he was listening. That was good. I mean, John Belushi, I mean, the Blues Brothers, they're still selling that album. It's a great album.
We're putting the band back together.
Forget it. No way.
We're on a mission from God.
You know, when you leave this realm, what's the one thing you want to leave behind that people remember about Ken the Hurricane Himes?
Well, hopefully peace and love and comedy. You know, just people tell me these wild and crazy things I've done in the past. Some I remember, some I don't remember. Air flights, you know, back of the plane, just making everybody laugh, complete strangers. I want to leave a smile on people's face. You know, there's enough bad stuff in the world, and you know, we all make mistakes. And so if I can just make people laugh and feel good, that's probably it. You know, I don't even want to think about dying because I'm that age now where anything could happen. So I'm trying to figure that all out. Like, am I going to heaven? Am I going to hell? If I don't follow this religion, I got to follow that religion. Which religion's going to take me? You know, so there's all these you know, minefield I got to try and get through. And I hate thinking about death and, you know, little kids dying and stuff like that. The little kid died in the bus over there in Vancouver. And the daddy wrote in the Times, calling a great paper, ancient paper, been around for 100 years or so, but the Times calls. That guy, he said, don't be angry with all the bus drivers. And then he did the voice of the child as if the child was alive. And he goes, my daddy and mommy would take me on the bus, and I love being on the bus and stuff. And I don't generally cry reading the Times calling this newspaper, but he was doing the voice of the kid. He's saying, give your bus driver a rose. Give your bus driver a cup of coffee. Don't be mad because of this one person who had an accident and stuff. And I feel it, and it's very sad. But he wrote it so beautifully, like, you know, what a way to not be angry, not be resentful for all bus drivers, not be resentful to the guy that did this. And it was just a beautiful piece in the newspaper. And
yeah, I mean, I'm a bus driver myself. I drive coaches.
Whoa, I did not know that.
Yeah, so it's when I heard that story too, it's like I put myself in the shoes, and I'm like, so that's why you just have to be aware. There's an awareness that needs to take place now. Are we becoming more aware of what's going on around us, and how, when we face challenges as well, especially as we get older, how are we able to bounce back? Mm-hmm. And you're a shining example of somebody who can harness some of the challenges and find ways to just keep your life exciting, entertaining.
Yeah. Well, I've been kind of isolated the last few years, so I'm not really doing too much, but I'm starting to go out now and get out there and stuff. But I've definitely been through a lot of issues like normal people have, and I've got through them. And generally, people like yourself that come around, or a friend comes around, it's all you need to hang out with your friends, and you know, it just picks you up. I guess you gotta live this life and go for your passions as much as possible. If you like being a welder, be a welder. If you like being a cook, be a cook. You know, find those passions, because that's so important to your mental health.
I bet there's people watching this that they have some things on their bucket list, or they wanted to try something. You know, I've always tried to inspire people. You can't be everything. You can have a crack at different things. But, you know, what's your message to people out there who perhaps have a couple of things on their list that they haven't?
Well, you got to put yourself out there. People don't know who you are. They'll never know. Like, you could be the best, you know, best hairdresser in the world if nobody knows, and you're just maybe working out of your house, whatever. But you have to go out and you have to reach out and try these things and find like-minded people, because those like-minded people are out there. So fortunately, we have a lot of social media places we can kind of get together, and you should carry on with your dreams, whatever it is. Or just, if you like being just an average person who likes playing the crossword puzzle every day or whatever, do that, be happy. But if you're not where you want to be and you're miserable and you're making other people around you miserable, then you should reach out and get your goals and find people like-minded like you that love a certain sport or a certain type of music.
It'd be like a shift in mindset sort of thing.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to sit down with Ken, the Hurricane Himes, a sports guy that's not shy, for quite some time, and it's been a blessing to be able to do this.
After all the jacks are in their boxes, and the clowns have all gone to bed,
Quite literally a seasoned veteran in showbiz, our qualified publicist Ken Hurricane Himes is eager to make himself available for voice work, event promotion and public relations. And with his passion for promoting Victoria in a positive light, along with his quirky stage presence, the future of Ken Hurricane Himes' life story is yet to be scripted. Thanks for watching this episode of The Rendezvous. I'm your host, James Green.
Is anybody going to hire Ken today?
Thank you.